You may go to work every day in an office, a school, hospital, shop, factory. Indeed, whatever building you work in, dealing with waste is a big issue. This sustainability short will give you a brief introduction to dealing with waste issues in facilities management, or FM as we call it. We're going to look at the following things. What do we mean by waste? How do we deal with waste? What to do if you have a problem? And how good waste management benefits your business. So, what is waste? When we think about waste, you might think about the things that end up in the trash. However, this is not the end of the story. The waste you throw away can cost your business through the extra materials they have bought, the inefficient use of these materials, the time and effort it takes to dispose of them, and their disposal can result in damaging impacts to the environment. Reducing waste improves efficiency and reduces these harmful environmental impacts. When we are managing waste efficiently, we use a set of priorities called the waste management hierarchy. The waste management hierarchy is a way of thinking about our materials and our waste, and this is how it works. Source reduction and reuse, also known as waste prevention, our number one priority should be reducing and reusing waste from the source. For instance, do we actually need that item, or can we do without it? Did we need to print that report, or order that full uniform when we only needed to get the old one cleaned? Recycling and composting. Do we ensure that the waste we cannot reuse is properly recycled and that we have planned for this with good segregation? It's very important not to contaminate our recyclable waste, for instance by mixing food waste with paper for recycling. Energy recovery. Do we ensure that any waste which cannot be recycled is used for energy recovery? There are lots of processes now that can capture energy from burning or digesting waste under controlled conditions. And finally, and only when all else fails, treatment and disposal is the last resort. Let's try to avoid this altogether. Next, we will look at how we deal with waste, looking at segregation and recycling.
Kyle, I'm conscious that since winning this new contract, that all their waste is going in one trash can at the moment, including recyclables like plastics, metals, and cardboard. What are your thoughts?
Well, we're obviously not allowed to do things like burning the waste because of the smoke. As far as I know, all the waste we collect just gets carted off to landfill. It's what they've always done.
Yes, burning waste is a definite no. In fact, if you burn waste, you can release pollutants which harm your health. Landfilling waste also isn't great because it costs us money and results in impacts to the environment.
Which makes me think, at my last job, we had a really good waste segregation system using clearly marked containers which allowed us to recycle the waste. We could easily do something similar here.
Okay, good idea. Let's work together to get our waste segregation sorted out. This should make it much easier for us to recycle what we can and avoid cross-contamination.
Cross-contamination of waste is a significant issue, which can result in waste which might otherwise have been recycled, instead being incinerated or sent to landfill. For example, we should put boxes in the cardboard container, cans in the metal container, and banana skins in the food waste container. Things can be different with hazardous wastes, such as fluorescent tubes, ink cartridges, and old paint tins. It's important to make sure that hazardous wastes are disposed of in the appropriate hazardous waste containers. If you're unsure, check. Often things like toner cartridges or paint are taken back by manufacturers in take-back schemes. So, if you're in any doubt, ask a supervisor to make sure you know about any special requirements like this.
Great. I think that's waste segregation covered. What are your options for recycling?
Well, the plastic bottles you've got will be shredded and sent back to the manufacturing plant for reprocessing. We send all the metal away for resmelting and the cardboard for pulping into new board. It's all part of something called a circular economy, in which wastes are reprocessed and used again. There are literally thousands of examples of this, from turning waste coffee grindings into fuels, to reprocessing unused and waste paint through take-back schemes, old yogurt pots into plastic wall panels, and making printer ink from recycled products.
If you have a problem with waste, the golden rule is to stay within the law. If you're unsure about anything, talk to your manager or the relevant person before it gets out of hand. However, as we just heard, not all waste problems are to do with the law. We want to reduce waste as much as possible for several good reasons. Here's an example that shows what can be done.
Hi, Lupus. Why are you throwing all those pieces of dry lining in the trash?
Hi. Well, they come in these big sheets you see. Our work instruction says that we have to cut them down to fit this wall, but then these scraps are useless. Doesn't seem right to me.
Oh, by scraps do you mean those pieces over there? They look pretty big to me.
Yep, I guess you could say that. The problem is that most of them are too small to use elsewhere on this job.
But isn't that adding hundreds of dollars to our material and waste disposal costs? Not to mention the time and effort it's taking you to cut them down.
For sure. The problem is, this is the only size they come in. Hang on though. We're ordering a lot of these. Do we have any influence with the supplier? How about you give them a call to see if they can supply them in the correct size?
Good idea. Also, I happen to know that James over in Building 2 will be doing a small dry lining repair job next week. I'll ask him if any of those offcuts would be useful. We could also keep some of those larger bits segregated in the storeroom. It's always useful to have a bit of stock for repairs. Thanks, Lucas.
So, what can we learn from Lucas's waste issue? Don't just accept the status quo. If you notice a wasteful practice, think about how you might be able to solve it. Don't be afraid to innovate and don't be afraid to speak up. Think about how you might be able to influence suppliers. You are their customer after all, and they will also want to show you how they can help. Talk to your colleagues to get their opinions. Contributions and ideas are extremely valuable, and everyone's opinion is important. It's important to remember your actions can help really improve waste management in the building you work in. This will benefit the business you work for in the following ways. Improved efficiency. Jobs done better and faster. Money savings. Improved relationships with customers and reduced environmental impacts. It is also important to understand that there may be consequences for not managing waste properly, including financial penalties, reputational damage, increased costs associated with disposal, and criminal convictions in severe cases of endangerment. So take care, and if in any doubt about what to do with any waste or material, ask someone who knows. As a next step to this module, spend a few minutes thinking about the waste you deal with in your working day. Commit to making a few small changes, get your colleagues to view this short, and then have a chat about things you could do together to reduce waste. If you have a good idea that is put into action, please contact the Supply Chain Sustainability School. We'd love to hear about it.